A heartbreaker in Vegas as the Wisconsin Badgers men's hockey team drops the national title game to Denver 2-1. Let's talk about it.
You are Locked On Badgers, your daily podcast on the Wisconsin Badgers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Man, well, first of all, welcome to Locked On Badgers. I'm your host, Ryan Herrings, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network. Thank you for being here. Today's episode, Spring Football Standouts. What are some of the names on the Spring Football Standouts that are really good to see there? NIL questions abound with the basketball program, but we have to start with the game that just ended. Wisconsin Badgers men's hockey drops a heartbreaker 2-1. I thought they were the better team for most of this game. They outskated them for a couple periods. We had a comment in here from Brian Axis. Feels like we outskated them for 2.5 periods and it slipped away. You outshot them. Just a heartbreaker. Heartbreaker. Let's turn this off here. We were so close. It felt like we were going to sweep the hockey finals, the hockey championships. The women obviously got it done. It felt like the men did. Let me start by saying all credit to Denver, an incredible program. I don't know much about hockey. People who listen to this show know that, but everything that you read about or you hear people talking about, announcers, that sounds like the Ohio State of hockey, Denver. They sound like they've been incredible. They haven't lost in forever. Their goalie Hicks, incredible, absolutely insane performance by Hicks today. He was unbeatable. He was just incredible. The Badgers had a ton of good looks, a ton of opportunities. They peppered him all night. He was great, right? Yeah, hats off. He was great. And Denver rallied. They tipped the cap, right? They were great. But it felt like Wisconsin outplayed them. It's so gut-wrenching. And let me tell you, hockey, because again, I just don't watch it much. I have absolutely nothing against the sport. It's just something I never got into. It is so stressful. Every moment feels intense, and every shot and every save and every penalty situation and every penalty kill and every icing call. In moments like this, I'm like, gosh, I need to watch more hockey because this is incredible. I was on the edge of my seat. I'm watching, and I don't even really know the sport that well. And it's incredible. And I'm so proud as a Badger fan. We get proud of our programs, our teams. I'm so proud of the men's hockey team, the women's team, obviously our volleyball team. You can't, it's gutting. It's heart-wrenching. But you can't hang your head after losing in the national title game by 1. You were right there. You were right there. And it feels like Coach Hastings has this program ascending. I mean, what a good hire to bring him in. It feels like you have right now incredible fits, obviously on the women's hockey side, obviously on volleyball. It feels like you have an incredible coach in the men's hockey side. I think Ray Gard is a good coach. It feels like there's a lot of pieces in place in key spots at Wisconsin. So, hat tip and incredible job by the men's team, the coaching staff, the players. My heart goes out to them. I know Rajeev was in the crowd tonight, a bunch of other people. I got texts from a couple other people that were in the crowd. Just gutting, just heart-wrenching. And you took the early 1-0 lead. Second period went through, and it felt like the second period was a bit of a stalemate, but you kept that lead. Hauser was great too, by the way. Tremendous. They played tremendous. The Badgers played tremendous. And when you have two tremendous teams, somebody loses. It just is what it is. When you have Sampras play Agassi, somebody's got to lose that tennis match. There was a late. Let's put some comments in here too, because there are much more informed, intelligent hockey fans than I am. I'm just reacting off heart. Let me tell you this too. It's a very interesting and different experience to watch a sport and be fully invested, but not really know the nuance of it. I feel like this is kind of how my wife is watching football and basketball. You can cheer your heart out and yell at the TV. And at one point when we got our first goal, I yelled at my son to get up here. I'm like, look at this shot. What a missile. Incredible. But I don't really know the nuance of it. It's a really interesting thing to watch a sport when you don't know the nuance and a lot of the rules and situational hockey. I just don't really know it. I'm not going to blow smoke on the show, but I was so invested in this. It was incredible. I got to watch more hockey next year is what it is. These programs are awesome. Absolutely awesome. The World is a Stage, 1984. That's an interesting username, by the way. Denver is a freaking juggernaut. Congrats on a great game, fellas. Yeah. OS Fly says hockey school. ODS. Yeah, that sucks. It does. Like, King versus Mamba, Wisconsin sport collapse strikes again, an American tradition like no other. There have been a lot of big moments where Wisconsin sports have just got it to the 1-inch line and failed to push it over, right? But again, like you have two incredible teams. Denver is, as the world is a stage, pointed out, is a juggernaut. Somebody's going to lose when you have two great quarterbacks. One of them is going to lose. When you have two great starting pitchers, somebody's going to lose. And it stinks that it was Wisconsin, but I'm super proud of the team. I'm proud to be a Badger fan. I'm proud that programs like that represent Wisconsin. You got really, really close to it. And if Hauser just doesn't lose his stick on that second one, maybe we're in OT right now. It happens. Credit to Denver. Listen, I'll say this, Wisconsin didn't give them any layups. Denver earned every bit of those 2 goals. Denver earned every bit of this 2-1 win. Wisconsin played really, really well. I think you could argue Wisconsin might have outplayed them. It doesn't matter. What matters is the final tally, but I was so into it. I'm proud of it. I've had people text me about how much fun this team is. It's definitely something we need to cover more. I need to cover more. I need to watch it more. And I'm super bummed that didn't go a different way. If you're in the chat, let me know, by the way, that late penalty on Wisconsin, was that a good call? Again, I don't know the sport well enough to know. I had some people tell me that's a bad call. And in that moment, in a game that felt like it was pretty chippy and that the refs didn't call much, it felt like a really pivotal call. There's 4 minutes left. You're about to take 2 minutes to have to kill a power play. It felt like that was a really that better been a black and white call. Maybe it was. Again, I don't know the sport. Like, this would be like asking a caterpillar if a pass interference call was a good call or not. The caterpillar's not going to know. I'm a hockey caterpillar, right? I don't know if that was a good call or not. Let me know. But it damn well better have been, because that was 4 minutes left with the title on the line. That had better been a real call. Leo says, yeah, pain. Odie says, we played unreal. Hauser's stick sold. Yeah. Just couldn't close the deal. Greg Lincecum. Leo, Hicks was insane. Yeah, he was great, man. He was incredible. What a performance for the kid. It is what it is. Like, you got to tip the cap sometimes in life. What a performance by the kid. Absolutely incredible. Yeah, Odie said Montgomery's penalty was also brutal. Montgomery's penalty could have been called 20 times in that game, but they waited until there's 4 minutes left. See, that's the thing. All I'll say, and I am, again, not in a position to say one way or the other. I'm just not. But that had better, and from the sounds of it, it wasn't a no-doubter. You can't make that call. That's like calling a questionable charge with a minute and a half left in a March Madness, in the national championship game in March Madness. Calling a questionable charge on a guy that has 4 fouls. You have got to be so sure in those moments. It felt like even the announcers, who, by the way, they seemed a little pro Denver. I'm just gonna say that. Probably because I'm a Badger fan. There is some bias involved when you're a fan watching a game and the announcer maybe is a little too positive for Denver. Maybe a little too much. I don't know. I got annoyed. Yeah, Denver came out buzzing in the third. Smo just says, ugh. Badgers played with house money ever since getting in the Big Ten tournament. Steve says Wisconsin did outplay them. They just had so many missed shots. Hicks was beatable, just whipped on open shots. There were a couple shots where it felt like we either missed the connection for a one-timer. If somebody's laughing at my terminology, I think that's what I'm trying to say. But it felt like we had a couple openings for sure. But Hicks cleaned a ton of that up too. He was just incredible. World is stage says they're a dynasty, Denver. To compete that well against them is commendable. Steve says we should have been up by at least 2 goals. Outshot Denver 25-5 after the second period. No excuses. You should have won that game. Yeah. Odie says first period aggressive, second period defensive, third period too many mistakes. I'd be curious, what were those mistakes? Somebody in the chat, let me know. Landon, good dude, man, says with Mike Hastings taking the Badgers to the Final Four, does that release the pressure of McIntosh's connection to Fickle a little bit? I don't think. It's a good question, Landon. I don't think all the other sports doing whatever they could do is going to release the pressure, because football's still king, right? So until football gets better, that's going to be a pressure cooker, in my opinion. Now, these help for sure. Women's basketball is a little better this year. Volleyball, the hockey programs, all of that helps. But if your football program's bad at a football school in the Big Ten, That's still the needle mover, man, to me. Let me know if you guys disagree. Nathan says that was God, that was heartbreaking. Proud of the Badgers. Yes, that's well said. Like Nathan, that's really well said. Heartbreaking, proud of them. I mean, when I was coaching a high school, AAU, a couple different places, some of the times I've been the most proud of my teams that I've been involved in have been after losses. But losses where we bowed up against there was a game we bowed up against a private school where we had no business really in it. We lost 2 players. Our 2 best players got fouled out, and we lost by just a couple points at the end. And I was so damn proud of the girls. Like you can be very proud in a loss and still be gutted. Steve says Wisconsin was the better team. Christopher dominated the game, but ran into a hot goalie. A wise man once said, sometimes she goes, sometimes she doesn't. Several people in here. Horrible call from Matthew. Odie says yes, but unfortunate. OS says not a penalty. Odie says they shouldn't have called it. At that time, it was a minor hold. And Shining Eagle, still proud of this team. Hopefully football follows suit. Really well said. A lot of people not happy with the call. Matthew, again, terrible call. Steve, ESPN announcer was pro Denver the whole game. It felt like it. Now, it's really easy to feel like it when you're a Badger fan, right? It's really easy to feel like the announcer is pro Denver because the pro Denver comments always stand out a little bit more. But it did feel tilted that way, in my opinion. Oh, my goodness, man. I'm so annoyed. Brian says goalie losing his stick was a major F-up. And again, this is where, as a non-hockey guy, I don't really even know what happens there. Can someone go get him the stick back? Like, I need some help on some of the context there. Oh, man. Brian, great tourney run, but this one will hurt for a while. I agree. Baron Von Trout, amazing run. Hard to see so many missed opportunities, but that's hockey. I guess sometimes you eat the bear and sometimes the bear eats you. Sometimes the Pioneers homestead and sometimes the Pioneers homestead gets burned down. Today, the Pioneers homestead worked. I don't know. That's probably not a good analogy, but all right, let's move on to a few other things. Yeah, Larry, good friend, a good dude, man. Larry says that was a tough one. It was just tough, man. That is a really tough one. All right, we're going to take a quick second here. We're going to come back. NIL questions still kind of abound with the basketball team. Let me give you the vibe on some of the latest I've heard, as kind of specifically as I can maybe talk about some of it, where my feel is on this team, where they're at right now. That's coming up next on Locked On Badgers. First, a quick second for our friends of the show. A quick second, as always, to say thank you for tuning into Locked On Badgers. Today's episode brought to you by our incredible friends over at Mazda, moving the game forward. For those who know, the score never tells the full story. Today's moving the game forward moment is this hockey team. It's this hockey team that has made a lot of Badger fans really proud with this. It's Coach Hastings. It's this team going on this run, getting to the national championship, really showing that this program is maybe back to where it should be. And now hopefully it's just upwards from here. It's incredible what they did, what the women's team has done. And I'm very proud of it. And I watched both of those games. I need to watch more next year. I'm committed to doing that, covering these programs more because they deserve it, quite frankly. And that's a failing on me. They deserve more coverage. And that's something we're going to do here because they were incredible. The women were incredible. And the men were incredible tonight. Just fell a little short, but they are absolutely moving the game forward. Just like the all-new Mazda CX-5 moving the same way with more space to connect, a bold new design, and more intuitive technology. You can stay connected to the road in every single position you play. The all-new Mazda CX-5, more to every side of you. Today's episode also brought to you by our great friends over at TurboTax. It is definitely tax time, but for a lot of us, the old way of doing taxes, it's a lot. You're trying to book an appointment, not the most convenient. You're sitting in a waiting room with a stack of papers. You're emailing back and forth, wondering if they really get your situation. But this year, you're getting a major upgrade. Intuit TurboTax now has in-person locations nationwide. You can meet face-to-face with a real tax expert, and your documents get uploaded straight to your TurboTax app on the spot. And just like that, you're done. Your TurboTax expert works to get you every dollar you deserve while you get real-time notifications as you go about your day. It's the relief of walking in, meeting a real person, then walking out, knowing that your taxes are being handled right. Head to TurboTax.com/local, find a store near you, and book your appointment. All right. Let's talk hoops. And any more hockey stuff you guys have, please put them in the chat as well. This will be probably a bit of a catch-all show to some degree. Yeah, Landon. Dexheimer got that crossed under 5 minutes, just inches away. Oh, that was so close. And I felt like there were a couple moments like that where the Badgers were right there for another goal, either to tack onto their lead or to add the equalizer, whatever it is. Doggone it, man. Sorry, I'm getting back on hockey now for a second. I was sort of shifting to basketball. My frustrations there. It's hard being a sports fan, right? Like, it is hard being a sports fan. The pains over the course of a career as a sports fan, and we're all career sports fans. The pains aggregate much faster than the wins, right? The big losses seem to be 3 or 4 times the big wins. All right, let's talk hoops. So some of this has already been out there. This is something, we talked about. I've talked about on a couple shows. John Blackwell leaving, Bialuskis leaving. Some of this is resource driven. I'm not going to say all of it, but some of this is resource driven, and just some of what I've heard and can talk about. It's not just let's talk Blackwell for a second, because there are a lot of comments about fans being frustrated about Blackwell saying I'm a Badger for life and then ultimately leaving. And I'll just tell you this, from what I've heard, and I'm not going to put any numbers out there, but from what I've heard, our offer wasn't even in the ballpark of what he's potentially getting in the portal. And maybe it's not in the ballpark because you can't, right? Because you can't put it in the ballpark because you know what your finances are. But in that sense, I'm never going to be that frustrated with a kid who's a young man who's going to make life-changing money. That's generational money, where he's going to be able to go and what he's going to be able to get. And it's generational money to go hoop for another year in the same country already hooping in. Like, it's different if it's generational money, but you have to go to Russia to play ball, or you have to sign a 5-year commitment. It's magnitudes of millions more just to go hoop in another really good basketball school, like to spend 8 months in Champaign-Urbana, or to spend 8 months in Duke, or Arizona, Tucson, or wherever he ends up, right? Everybody's probably seen some of the lists he's put out there. It could be Duke, it could be Illinois, Michigan, Arizona, Louisville, wherever he ends up. He just has to go play ball somewhere for 8 months, and he's going to make a ton of money. I'm not going to hate on that. I'm just not. I get it. And when he said, excuse me, when he said I'm a Badger for life, he probably didn't think that type of money was going to be out there. I just needed a quick drink. I'm sorry. I've been screaming at my TV to score a goal. So I'm not going to be that frustrated with him. Now, I do think he could have handled it better. I do think on the way out, I don't love the way he left the program. I think there was a better way to do that. Perhaps with a little bit more gratitude, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion, and I get it. I get the move. Then Bialuskis leaves. You've seen other schools start to load up with players, to add on to players. Give me 1 sec. Sorry. My voice is going really quickly, which is a pain point when you have a whole nother segment after this one. Yeah, from what I've heard, like, the NIL's it's not in a great spot for the Badgers basketball team. I don't fully know why. It's kind of frustrating. I think it puts his coaching staff in potentially a bad spot. I'm not even really reporting on anything that hasn't been put out there. This is something that several people have kind of talked about. You got to fill out a roster. You need 2 starters. You probably need 2 bench guys. Kudos. I think it sounds like they're able to keep Nolan Winter, which is incredible. That's huge. You could not lose Winter and Blackwell in the same season, just even from an optics standpoint. You imagine the optics of that. You can't do that. It sounds like they're likely able to keep Nolan Winter. I don't think there's been anything official pointed out there, but there's been a lot of good vibes in that way. But a lot of schools, if we're just going to say a lot of schools that are really invested into their program, a lot of D1 basketball programs that are really invested, they're not losing a Bialuskis. They would keep him and put him on the bench for depth. They're not losing a John Blackwell. They're going to be able to keep those type of players that they grow, that they find, and they develop. So I think it is a problem. I had somebody ask me the other day, they phrased it in a way I don't want to use on the show necessarily, but they said, basically, can you win at the highest level at Wisconsin? And I think you can, but you need all the stars to align. Your margin for misses is much lower. You need your coaching staff to be, you almost have to have no misses in the portal. You have to find value every year. You have to have Greg Gard find a John Tonje who is undervalued, a Nick Boyd who's undervalued, a Braden Carrington who's undervalued. You need some of your guys to take hometown discounts, which has happened the last several years, by the way. I don't know if people fully know that or not, but from what I've been told, that's happened. You need a lot of things to go right. And the schools with more money, they have a much bigger margin for error. They can miss on a couple guys and still have seven pretty expensive dudes on the roster, for example. You have margin for error for injuries. You have margin for error for misidentifications. it's just different. And it's frustrating a little bit as a Badger fan. We'll see what it's like at the end of the year. Greg Gard's probably going to find some dudes because he's a really good coach. He's really good at this, but it's nothing that's filled me with a ton of optimism. I'm going to be perfectly honest on that. This has been a negative show. Coming up next, we have some positives. Spring football, not just some of the standouts that have been reported, but why some of the players on this list, it's a really good thing to see them there. That's coming up next on Locked On Badgers. First, a quick second for our friends of the show. Quick second, as always, to say thank you for tuning into Locked On Badgers. What if sports were actually, hold on, I apologize. That is not my next ad read. All right, my bad on that one. Brought to you by our great friends over at Indeed. Robinhood Sports is our next one. Indeed is an incredible partner. Right now, if you need to hire, you're already dealing with a lot of issues, right? You're already dealing with maybe deadlines coming up. Maybe you got 3 or 4 projects you're juggling. Maybe you and your coworker are all in on this thing, but your boss is like, go hire another guy because Fred left and you got to replace Fred. It's hard. Indeed is there to help you find the right hire for the right job to push your business forward. And the minute we've been talking, companies like yours have made 27 hires on Indeed sponsored jobs, according to Indeed data worldwide. That's a tremendous advantage for your business to find the right people doing the right jobs that you need. And listeners to this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Spend less time searching, more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Go to Indeed.com/podcast right now. Support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire. This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. Today's episode also brought to you by our great friends over at Robinhood. What if sports are traded like markets? Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not you against the house. It's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood prediction markets changes the game. It's people moving the action. So when momentum shifts, you can move with it. I always knew the game, but I never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Now I can actually take part live in a market powered by people. You're no longer just a spectator play-by-play. You decide. Trade every play with Robinhood, now available across the U.S. Download the Robinhood app now to begin. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk. Is not appropriate for everyone. Event and contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, a registered future commission merchant and swap firm. Let's get into this. We'll take some comments too. Definitely just want to get some of your thoughts on this. CJ, what was more rigged? This game or the Duke basketball championship game? Oh, I don't know. I don't know what was more rigged. I have to say hoops because I just don't know hockey well enough to say this was rigged or not. Hoops, I mean, definitely Coach K had a moment there where he used his warlock powers to influence certain things. All right, let's keep going here. Let's get some more of these hoops things too. Greg says, do we have a shot at the point guard from Portland since we have his brother? I don't think so. Now he's a good player. It's Joel Foxwell. I don't think it's a great fit, even if you could get him. Him and Owen Foxwell are going to be a little smaller, not dynamic enough, in my opinion, athletically, to pair the two of them together. I think you could have one of them and be really good. I think as a combination, I don't think they're athletic enough. My opinion, just my opinion. Yeah, OD, Blackwell leaving was tough. P says he's no legend. Fritz, incredibly proud of a team that upset 2 quality hockey teams on the road to the finals, had a lead in the third period. Nobody gave him that type of chance or credit to go that far. I agree. No, I'm super proud of him. It still hurts. Mr. McRae, I did get your letter. Yes, I did. And I put actually some of it in one of the shows, by the way. Let's keep going here. Steve says, Blackwell stated he wants to go to a school that competes for championships. I didn't think he needed to say a few of the things he said on his way out the door. And again, I don't begrudge John Blackwell. It doesn't bother me really that he left because I think a lot of professionals leave for more money in all jobs, in all job markets. Money doesn't have to be the number one driver for everybody, but you get to a certain point and money, if the money's not close, it's a driver for a lot of people. I think John Blackwell didn't do anything wrong in that. I think he could have handled it a little better on the way out. Winning Gambler says Blackwell is a mercenary, just like all the players now. I don't know. I mean, I get this perspective, right? But what is a mercenary actually? If the numbers aren't that close, is somebody a mercenary? You know, let me put it a different way. Is a guy coming from, let's say a guy spends 3 years at Sam Houston and the basketball program there. Not a great NIL program, I imagine. and he goes to Iowa his last year because he gets a ton more money. Is he a mercenary, or is he just taking advantage of kind of an obvious financial situation? I don't know. And maybe that is a mercenary. Maybe that's what mercenary means at the end of the day. I think a mercenary is more somebody who, I can make $500,000 more here. I'm going to leverage teams against each other, and I'm going to bounce, and every dollar matters to me. These offers, from what I've heard, weren't that close, and I just have a hard time calling him a mercenary for that. Winning Gambler says coaches have also been mercenaries. That's very true. Brian, Badgers should be in a better financial position than this. Rather unacceptable. Not fair to guard to have to deal with this every year. Dude, I agree. Brian, I agree, man. I agree. I fully agree. Like, when NIL first happened, I remember specifically I said, I don't think this is going to hurt Wisconsin that much, because Wisconsin, in the world of college sports, is a little bit more of a have than a have not. They're in the Big Ten. They have a real brand. They have good football and basketball programs. There's fan support. They're never going to crush NIL. I knew that. But I didn't think we'd have a show a couple years later talking about we're losing our best homegrown players because Illinois is going to pay more, because Louisville is going to pay more, because Arizona is going to pay more. We're losing guys off our bench because we have to save money for a different home. I didn't think these would be conversations we'd be having. And maybe I was ignorant. Obviously, I was ignorant. Obviously, I was naive. Obviously, I kind of got that one wrong. But they shouldn't be in this position. Nobody I talk to expects the Badgers to spend in the top third of like Blue Bloods, or to spend like Michigan. But the idea that you can't retain your homegrown talent, that's a tough one, man. Greg says, cheers to Rajeev. Way to support hockey by being there. Oh, 100%. So Rajeev curse strikes again. Yeah, that's also true. We don't have the greatest track record when any of us go to games, unfortunately. The great Will Hanna. Very tough physical match. Denver is really good. Someone has to win, someone has to lose. That's exactly where I'm at. You put two really good boxers against each other. Like, listen, we all watched Real Steel. We all watched Zeus and Adam fight each other. Someone has to lose. You know, Adam took it on the chin, but he brought it to the last round there. Somebody has to lose, unfortunately. Winning Gambler says 99% of college players will go to the highest bidder now. Yeah, Raul, I kind of agree with this too. John Blackwell, just no need to talk about your old situation negatively. And even some of the little comments to me, I didn't love it. Right. I didn't love it. And we got the dude in the show right now. Rajeev, we've already covered a lot of ground here, but we're going to a game. Always well when one of us shows up at a game, right? Because those usually turn out well.
You know, it's just not good luck when we go to anything, man. It's brutal. It's brutal. I know you guys already talked about hockey, but I just have to.
Please.
Unbelievable. I just got to say, dude, these guys played their butts off. I mean, just unbelievable performance. It was super fun to be able to go to the game. Saw some Locked On Badgers fans, saw Melvin Gordon, saw people from the university. Just so much fun, man. Like, but what exactly were the refs doing in the end of the third period? I don't know what the hell happened. Was my brother-in-law, who's a diehard hockey guy, and he was like, "This is an injustice. This is an injustice. Like, there's no way they should have got a penalty and we didn't." It was awful, man. It was really a crappy way to end the season. But unlike another Badger team that we root for, these guys know how to win in March. And I just have to give it to this hockey team, man. Like, as I said this before, we don't cover this team enough. Like, they play their butts off, and, you know, we don't do enough to support them. And I'm gonna personally make it a point next season to make sure that we cover them more. But so much fun. These guys played their butts off. The entire first and second period, we were playing downhill. We were the better team. We were the better team pretty much the whole game. But Denver is a team that just sadly knows how to win and found ways to get it done in the third period. And we should have had a call that clearly just didn't go our way. But their goalie is incredible. You got to give him credit. And it was a tough one, man. I was listening to this show on the way home, and I was hoping I could get here before you ended it. But I just got to say, man, it's just kudos to those guys. They played their butts off. That's a Badger team that more people need to support. Right. Because these guys are incredible. You know, to get to the Final Four, to get to the national championship game after being an unseeded team, but we were basically a 3 seed and a 16-team tournament, which is on the lower side. And to do the things that we've done, beat the teams that we beat, incredible performance, man. It was great to be there. It was great to see so many Badger fans out there. Great to see so many Locked On fans that came up to me. So it was awesome, man. It's just such a bummer that we lost, man. Really a bummer.
That's really well said. Yeah, and I don't know the sport like you know this, and the people who watch this show know this. So I couldn't really even comment on the late penalty, but I had several people in the chat basically say the same thing you said. Just a really soft call in that moment, I think, is what a lot of people are down to. You can't make that call in that moment. It's like a ticky-tack call in basketball with 2 minutes left. You just can't do it.
Yeah.
Let's shift gears quick because I haven't had you on the show for a long time and I've missed you. First of all, I know you've been doing more important things, by the way.
Yeah, you know, baby's in the house now, so that's fun. This is my first time on since before the baby. So how about that?
And we've texted, and I'm I literally can't tell you how happy I am for you and your family, and I think it's absolutely amazing. So the last thing I would ever do, and I told you this, I'm not texting you to invite you on the show. You do, please. But now that you're here, let me get 5 more minutes of you.
Let's do it.
The segment I shifted into after hockey was basketball NIL. And I'm not putting anything out there that isn't already kind of out there. The Badgers they're not where they need to be from a basketball NIL standpoint. It's frustrating. We just saw football get an influx. Rajeev, how does that make you feel? Like, where are you at on basketball knowing, A, Greg Gard's in a position a lot of Big Ten coaches aren't, and B, I don't know if it's going to get better anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Sadly, the way it feels to me is that it's not going to get better until we suck, which is what happened with football, right? We started to suck and therefore it got better. And it's sad that it has to happen like this and that Gard can't do it. The other thing that hurts him in a sense is that he's kind of too good at this. Like, he's too good at taking a little less money and being able to get guys like Storr and, you know, guys like Tanjay and guys like Boyd, and he's done too well for his own good. But as evidenced by the fact that this team continues to have the high floor that it does, the floor dropped out in football, I think it's asinine that we don't invest more in this program. And because Greg Gard frankly deserves it. He deserves it. Like, this is what look at what we've done. We've gotten, you know, a 5 seed, a 3 seed, a 5 seed. Yeah, we've had some problems in the tournament. We've only won 1 game in the last 3 years. That's a problem. But with better players, we can get by those first rounds. We can make a run and we can do what we need to do. So I'm just disappointed. I'm not surprised that we lost Blackwell. I don't think any of us are. Like, that was coming. But it's upsetting that a team that finished no lower than 4th for basically 2 decades in the Big Ten and have won multiple Big Ten championships, continue to be one of the Big Ten's most storied and most, you know, consistent programs, backing of the university or NIL or wherever the money's coming from. It's just upsetting. And it's not something that we can necessarily change, but it's just one of those things that, you know, it just kind of blows. And I'm glad that the football team's getting the investment because they need it. But don't forget about the team that actually the floor never dropped out on, that just consistently gets to the tournament and gives us a lot more to be excited about during the regular season than this football team has. They need to be invested in, and it's pretty disappointing.
Yeah, you hit on something that I think is really accurate. I think it's well said. I said it kind of in a different show. People are going to look at Greg Gard and say, well, it's been fine.
Yeah,
it's been fine. So it's not been great, but it's been fine. Why do we need to put more money there? Football's been bad. Let's invest in that. And I think that's what's happened, Rajeev. And it is going to maybe take the bottom falling out, or it's going to take some coach honestly going to social media and saying, this is a joke. I can't afford guys. We're losing homegrown players. That's the thing, right? Like, Blackwell's a homegrown star. I mean, it's hard to lose homegrown stars because that's what we've always believed in is you build, you develop your guys, right? That's what Wisconsin across both sports for 20 years, Rajeev, has been. Recruit, develop. Well, you did that, and now you can't even keep those guys. That's what's frustrating.
And part of that's the system too. Like, look, even if we would have offered Blackwell $5 million, would he have stayed? I don't know. Like, doesn't he wants to go to a contender, whether it's Duke or Illinois, wherever he ends up going. Like, he probably wouldn't have stayed here regardless of whether we could actually pay him. If we would have paid him an obscene amount of money, look, we're not about bidding Duke. And I don't think in no world can Badger fans ever realistically expect us to outbid Duke when it comes to basketball, or Michigan or Ohio State in football. Like, we're not outbidding those teams. We're never going to be in that atmosphere. So ultimately, he made the decision that he wants to chase something else. And yeah, he can get money too, but it's also about winning things. And hitting the height of his career or whatever he decides to say. Like, but it is what it is. Like, we're not in that stratosphere, and I understand that. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't be able to go out and compete with other teams for other guys, right? Like there's other guys like Leon Bond. That'd have been nice to get him over going to Iowa State. Would have been nice to be able to take a look at Zoom Diallo instead of him probably going to Kentucky. Like it's frustrating, but that's the world we live in, dude. That's the world of college sports. And that's why I continue to say we need contracts. We need rules in place. It's not fair. It's not fun as a fan to have to deal with that. And that's upsetting. But yeah, we were never going to keep John Blackwell, and whatever anyone thinks, we were never going to keep him.
Yeah, and I kind of heard before the year. I think I told you this. I thought I'd heard he was done.
Yeah.
Let me give you a fact or fiction quick, because I'm going to maximize my Rajeev time really quick.
Yeah, hell yeah, man.
Because we're at 35, so I got to get off anyway. We have a movie night tonight, so I'm excited for that for me and my kiddos. We're watching Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. We're going through all the old movies, like old for me, but now that's new for them. It's really cool. I love it. Actor fiction, Rajeev. Grey Guard would not have this big of a money problem. I should say the men's basketball team, not Grey Guard, if he had won a couple games in March. More money would be there. Fact or fiction?
Fact. Yeah. Like, look, I mean, and listen, I can't pretend to understand where that money comes from and who all's donating, who all's not, but you got to think that our repeated failures to get to the Sweet 16 definitely play a factor in the, the fact that we're not getting this money. And had we been in the Sweet 16, like, look, we all know what happened. We beat the team that won the national title. We beat another team that won the Final Four. There's no reason that we couldn't have made that run deep, similar to the way the hockey team did. But we couldn't do it because we can't get out of our own way in beating the teams like High Point or James Madison, BYU, whatever the case is, the lower seeded team, 3 years in a row, white jerseys, losing. That's not a good look. It's not. And it's also not a good look to the people that are pulling out their pocketbooks, pulling out their checkbooks and writing money to the university. Like, these guys that are doing this, there's no return on their investment. They're spending money to spend money. They're not getting anything back other than the joy of us winning. If you see a team that is just continuously losing and not bringing you that joy, why then are you opening your pocketbook? So yeah, of course, you get by High Point, you get by Arkansas, maybe you're playing Arizona, maybe you're playing the Elite Eight against Purdue, who knows? But if we don't do that, you're going to lose out on money. It definitely is a factor in why we're not seeing as much.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's hard to know, and we don't know exactly how much more you would get. But
right.
Fans get excited when good things happen, right? And what do you do when you get excited? You spend some more money. I think that's true in a lot of things in life, right? When you're excited about something, when you're excited about a vacation, you're going to probably get a nicer resort. When you're excited about a certain car, you're going to trick it out. Well, whatever you're excited about, you're more likely to spend money on it because you believe in it. You're happy about it. It feels good to you. Let's just be honest. Being a fan is emotional, right? Yeah. Imagine an Elite Eight run, Rajeev, and then calling a donor and saying, "Hey, we're in the Elite Eight. This is what we can do. Let's get a little bit more next year." Instead, now you're calling a donor right after you lose to High Point and saying, "Hey, High Point was really good, right? Maybe." It's harder to sell. I think, yes, I agree with you. I will say this though, barring like a run to the Final Four, I don't think you win a couple March games and like the floodgates open, but I do think it obviously helps.
Right. And the other thing is a deeper run could have convinced a player like Blackwell that he could win here, right? Like, part of the reason that Blackwell wanted to go is because he wants to win something. But if we would have gone to the Elite Eight, he might have been like, "Hey, let's run it back." Right. I mean, you know, how many times when you're growing up and you're playing sports and you're like, "Oh, we were so close. Run it back. Run it back. I want another chance." That mentality might be there. But when you're losing in the first round every year, the mentality is not there. You're not really believing that this team can get there. And I think John Blackwell knew that we weren't going to find Nick Boyds don't grow on trees. That guy was incredible. So had we gone deeper, it could have sold our players on potentially staying for another shot at it. But the way that we went out, not only you lose money, you also lose that drive and desire from your stars to stick around.
Yeah, that's well said. Look at some of the schools he's looking at, right? Those schools all went on runs. Not only do those schools have money, but they
were all in the Elite Eight. They were in the Elite Eight.
It's Duke, right? It's Arizona. It's all those types of schools. And listen, as Badger Bournemouth points out, JB had some issues as well. Like, certainly JB, we talk about losing to High Point. Certainly JB could have done more to make that not happen, but we've kind of already litigated that part of it. Rajeev, I got to get going because I got to edit this. We have a movie night. I'm sure you have family stuff. For the first time on this show, though, I've said it to you before, but love you, man. Congratulations. So happy for your family. Really one of the best pieces of news that in the last year, honestly, it's amazing. So we're so happy for you, man. I know a lot of people on this channel are as well.
Yeah, man, it's been a nice last 3 weeks. Spending time with my baby boy, and I've missed my time on Locked On. I've only done my once a week shows on the Bucky Report, but I was set on the show this weekend. I haven't been on here. I miss it. I'll be back soon, but it's been really good time with the family. So like the boy, he's doing great. Little big sister's getting used to life with a little brother. But now it's been a lot of fun and many text messages, comments on Twitter, everything, congratulating me. So thank you to all of you who have sent me messages, or even to those who just thought about it. I really, really appreciate the love. And of course from you, man, and from Justin too. So yeah, it's been really good, but I have missed my time on here. And I will be back full time soon. We'll
do another Fact or Fiction coming up. But in the meantime, and as Nate says, congrats, Rajeev. On Wisconsin, as always, super proud of this men's hockey team, as both Rajeev and I have talked about. We will definitely talk more coming up next week. Got a bunch of football stuff. I'll try to get down to a practice or two as well on Wisconsin, and we will definitely talk to you guys later.